Hi. So this will be my first instructional sharing how-to video showing you guys what I'm working on. I just finished this painting last week and I'm going to be starting on a new piece today. Or well, actually I started on it yesterday, but today I'm going to share with you what I'm actually doing. So it's going to be a wall sculpture, a combination of all the different modeling textures I use, but with cardboard and also paper clay. And I wanted to share with you guys kind of from like a start to finish how this is going to evolve. If you're interested in watching that, learning, going along with me on this journey. I don't exactly know what I'm doing, but I think I have a plan in my head of how this is going to turn out, and hopefully it's going to be awesome. So I could give you a tour of my art studio, but I'm gonna be honest, it's a complete wreck right now. You can't see the floor, and that's a good thing. So let's get started. I thought I would show you first the naked canvas, and I haven't started adding any textures yet. I just used a black acrylic marker to rough sketch in where I think things are gonna go, and then as I show you what textures and what I'm building with the construction paper and the cardboard and the paper clay and the bedding and the modeling paste, you'll better be able to understand where I'm putting those things, and hopefully it'll make sense later as you can see how it's coming together. So I've been using texture in my paintings for about 10 years now. My very first commissioned customer wanted an abstract painting. She was a horror fiction writer. So whenever she walked into her office, she wanted to feel inspired to write about death and darkness and suspense. And I thought that using texture was a really great way to bring another element to that painting. So over the last 10 years, I figured out which texture products I like and what results they give. I usually just use either light modeling paste or molding paste made by Liquitex and Golden. But I also really like heavy gloss gel, which dries really plastic and shiny. And I also like just regular modeling paste, but it has a tendency to crack. So sometimes I'll take that or the light modeling paste and mix it with matte gel or heavy gloss gel, and it makes it a smoother consistency. But all these products, though, have a tendency whenever they cure to contract. So whatever volume you originally put them on the canvas or the wood panel, they'll contract to about 50% of their original size. And then you can go back and add another layer. But even adding another layer or 3 layers, I could really only ever get it about an inch off the canvas. Until Monday, I'm super excited. I tried something new, something very unconventional. I bought what is it's a mixture. I think it's either paper or wood fiber, rolled, compressed. It's actually something used for small animals in their like aquariums or their cages. And I mixed that with the light modeling paste. So here's the light modeling paste. It's very yogurt-like, and this is what the bedding looks like. It's just kind of fluffy, but whenever I mixed it with the modeling paste, it dries very hard, and you can mold it to just about any shape, and I really loved the texture that it gave. This is my my practice board. I know it doesn't look like much, just like a bunch of black blobs probably from where you are, but I was able to get it about 2 inches high, and it's staying there, and it's not contracting, and that's very exciting. So I think this is what I'm going to be using is this mixture to create the ash and the pieces of burnt wood. I'm really excited. Also, though, I'm going to be using paper clay. You can make your own paper clay. I have friends who do that. I'm kind of lazy. I don't want to make paper clay. You need food processor and water and binder, Mod Podge, and it just sounds like a lot of work. So I buy this product. It's DOS, and it's really just like working with clay, but it dries, completely all the way through, and then I can just use modeling paint or modeling paste to adhere that to the canvas, and it works great. So I'll be using this stuff to sculpt the soda bottle, you can see, and the light bulb. Then I'll be able to paint them just like I would anything else. And then the last thing I figured out, though, was I bought, while I was also at the pet store, I bought this aquarium substrate. It's a little heavy. This is a 5-pound bag, but whenever you mix this into the modeling paste, it turns out exactly like black lava that's sold by Golden, only it's significantly cheaper. You don't have to buy a whole container. You can make just a little bit, and then I use Golden high flow acrylic paints. Add to that to get whatever color you want. Highly pigmented. High flow is pretty fantastic stuff. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you guys that I use is something that people who use, it's made by the Ballast Company. It's a fine artificial sand that people who build or make model like trains, model railways, they use this to look like sand in their little bitty towns. It weighs nothing, but it looks and acts like sand, and it doesn't make it all heavy and dense. But when you mix this stuff with any of the textures, really, it comes out just fantastic and ends up being kind of the consistency of coarse pumice gel, which is also rather expensive compared to just straight up buying modeling paste. So I'm really, really happy with all of the results that I played around with on Monday. Again, I know it's hard for you to make out exactly what's going on here. You'll just have to trust me, and you know, I'll show you better later. So then the last thing I wanted to talk about is that, yeah, I've started using cardboard just on this piece, constructing what parts, and then I'll attach this to the canvas with the modeling paste to like keep it in place and act as a support structure underneath. So this is going to be a paint can lid with perspective. Once it's on the canvas, it'll look like it's, you know, receding away from the vantage point. And I'm going to cover this in a product called Cold Press Ground, which is made by the Core company. Core is watercolors, and it's basically, the stuff is fantastic. You need to, if you work in watercolors, you need to know about this stuff. Basically, they take watercolor paper, put it in a blender, and then you can paint it on any surface, canvas or panel. That's one of my older paintings I did of a chain fence, and I was like, how can I make a textured watercolor painting? And this is the stuff that I used. I put down coarse pumice gel, and then I painted this watercolor substrate on top of the coarse pumice gel, and I was able to achieve a textured watercolor painting. It was a huge experiment, one that actually turned out really well. So for this painting, I'm going to be using that product again. So it's by Core Watercolors, and it's cold pressed substrate. So you can paint that on wood panel, you can paint it on canvas, and then just do a watercolor painting as you normally would. So I'm going to be using watercolors, inks, something walnut ink dye, which is fantastic if you've never played around with that, and then just acrylic paints and all of my textures. I'm really, really excited to get started on this, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you tune back in to see how this all develops, and hope that you have a good day. Thanks, guys. Bye.